The Silent Council, 800 words. The chamber of the Galactic Council glowed with soft blue light. Thousands of alien delegates sat in tall seats. Their voices filled the air with whispers and laughter. They believed this day would be easy. They believed humanity had come to beg for peace. At the center of the chamber, the human ambassador stood alone. He was tall but simple, dressed in a black suit instead of shining robes like the others. His face was calm, his hands still, his eyes cold and sharp. Around him, the alien leaders exchanged mocking smiles. A tall, scaled creature from the Vorkan Empire spoke first, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Human, you come to this council asking for peace, but peace has a cost. Earth must kneel and accept our control, only then will there be safety." The council chamber roared with laughter. Another alien, a feathered noble from the Arkan Dominion, added with a cruel tone, "You humans are fragile. Your world is small. Your fleets are nothing. Without us you will starve and fall. You should thank us for even offering mercy." More laughter echoed. But the human did not respond. He simply looked at them, silent, his expression unchanged. His stillness made some delegates shift uncomfortably, yet most continued to laugh. The council expected him to plead. They expected him to lower his head. They expected desperation. Instead, they found silence, silence that grew heavier by the second. One young alien whispered nervously to his elder, "Why does he not answer? Why does he not beg like before?" But the elder shook his head. "It does not matter. Humans are weak. They always break." The ambassador raised his eyes toward the great window at the top of the chamber. Stars twinkled beyond. Worlds and fleets stretched across the void. But he said nothing. His silence became a weapon, a quiet defiance that none had prepared for. Behind the walls, hidden observers recorded every word. The galaxy's media expected to see humans humiliated. Billions across the stars waited for the scene. They thought they would watch Earth kneel. They thought they would watch Earth bow. But what they saw instead was a single man, standing tall, unmoved by the insults thrown like knives. The chancellor of the council, an ancient being with silver skin, tapped his staff against the floor. "Enough," he commanded, his voice deep. "The human may speak now. Let us hear his request for peace." The chamber grew quiet. Every eye turned toward the human ambassador. The silence was deafening, the air heavy with arrogance and expectation. Yet he did not speak. The delegates began to frown. Some whispered, others hissed in annoyance. "Why does he not talk? Is he afraid? Perhaps humans have no words left." The ambassador finally moved, but only to place his hands behind his back. His calm face remained, his lips closed, his eyes burned like cold fire. Every insult before, every word of mockery, every laugh, it all hung in the air. Unanswered, the silence became unbearable. The Vorkan delegate slammed his claw against the table. "Answer us, human, speak!" His voice thundered, shaking the chamber. Still the human did not reply. The Arkan noble leaned forward, his feathers trembling. "You think silence gives you strength? You are nothing, your fleets are nothing. Your world will burn if we command it." The chamber filled again with cruel laughter. But this time the laughter sounded weaker, forced, like the delegates themselves felt the chill that spread through the air. The ambassador finally raised his chin, his voice calm, steady, deep. "I will speak," he said. Every word sharp like steel. The chamber froze. He looked around at the endless rows of alien leaders, his eyes cold and unblinking. "You speak of peace. But your words are poison. You speak of mercy. But your hands drip with blood. You speak of strength. But you fear the silence of one man." The chamber fell into dead quiet. No delegate laughed now. The human's voice carried across the hall like a blade of truth. The chancellor leaned forward, his silver skin glowing faintly. "Then tell us, human, what does Earth want from this council?" The ambassador's lips curved into the faintest hint of a smile that was not warm but dangerous. "Earth wants nothing," he said, his voice still calm. "Earth does not come to beg. We do not come to kneel. We do not come to ask." Gasps rippled through the chamber. Some delegates stood in outrage, others sat frozen in shock. The human took one step forward, his voice growing colder. "We came to listen, we came to watch, we came to see the council's true face. And now we know it." The council chamber felt smaller, darker, as if the air itself thickened. Every alien eye locked on him. The silence cut deeper than any shout. The ambassador's final words echoed like thunder. "Remember this silence, for soon it will break." And with that he bowed his head slightly, not in surrender but in warning. The delegates stared, unsure, unsettled, and for the first time in countless ages, The Galactic Council felt fear not from a fleet, not from a weapon, but from the silence of humanity. The galaxy had waited for diplomacy, but deep within the silence of one man, fire was already burning. Whispers of betrayal, 800 words. The council chamber remained heavy with silence after the humans' words. Alien delegates shifted in their seats, their mocking smiles now twisted into unease. They had expected weakness, but they had found something else. In the dark corners of the chamber, secret messages flashed between delegates, hidden transmitters glowing faintly beneath long robes and scaled armor. Betrayal moved like a shadow, unseen yet powerful. The Vorkan delegate whispered into his communicator, his voice low and venomous. "Send word to the fleets. Prepare to strike Earth's colonies. The humans must not leave this council alive." His eyes glared at the ambassador, who still stood calm in the center. Far above, in private balconies, envoys from lesser species leaned together, their whispers quick and nervous. "Why does he not beg? Why does he not fall to his knees?" one asked. "Perhaps the humans hide something," another muttered. Fear edging his tone, the human ambassador said nothing. His silence was not weakness, it was a blade. Every quiet second cut into the pride of the council. Across the galaxy, entire networks broadcast the meeting. Billions of citizens watched with amusement that slowly turned into discomfort. Their leaders had promised a spectacle of human surrender, but instead the universe now saw an unshaken figure who stood alone yet unbroken. Among the feathered nobles of the Arkan Dominion, a group of younger delegates began to whisper plans of betrayal. "We should strike first," one said. "Destroy their trade routes, weaken them, show them fear." Their elders silenced them with a sharp hiss. "Do not rush. We must watch them first." Whispers moved like smoke through the chamber. Not all voices agreed. Some feared what would happen if humans were pushed too far. Ancient stories resurfaced, tales of Terran wars fought with fire and iron, wars where humans had never truly surrendered. The Chancellor watched quietly, his silver eyes studying the human ambassador. There was no plea in the man's posture, no desperation, only patience, patience that was more dangerous than any shouted threat. In the council's private corridors, aides and assistants carried encrypted orders. Some hurried to summon fleets to the border, others rushed to silence media reports that spoke of humanity's courage. The ambassador stood alone, but humanity was not alone. Unknown to the council, hidden ships drifted in the black, powerful signals waiting for a single command. An insectoid delegate leaned close to his neighbor, clicking his mandibles nervously. "Something feels wrong. The humans know more than they show." But the neighbor sneered. "They are weak. They bluff. They hope their silence frightens us." Yet fear was already creeping in. Quiet and invisible, the Vorkan delegate raised his voice, trying to break the silence. "Human, you have spoken strong words, but words are not ships. Words are not weapons. You will bow before us, or you will burn." The ambassador turned his head slowly, his eyes meeting the aliens with calm steel. He said nothing, and yet the silence itself became the answer. One Arkan noble hissed with irritation, feathers rattling. "Strike now. Do not wait for their tricks," his companions whispered agreement. But their elder again silenced them. "Patience. We must see what they hold." Whispers of betrayal filled the chamber, but the humans had already expected it. Far away, hidden within a Terran warship cloaked in silence, an admiral stood at attention, his voice steady as he spoke to his crew. "The council will betray us. It is only a matter of time. Hold position. Wait for the signal." Across the fleet, thousands of humans stood ready, hands on controls, eyes fixed on the stars. Back in the chamber, the Chancellor lifted his staff, his voice deep. "The human has spoken. The council will decide." But even as he spoke, secret messages still burned in the air, betrayal already written into the future. The ambassador's lips curved into the faintest smile, as if he could hear every whisper, as if he already knew. He spoke at last, his voice calm. "I see your eyes, I hear your whispers. You plan betrayal even as you speak of peace. You mock us as weak. But weakness is not what you should fear." His words echoed like thunder. The chamber grew colder. Silence returned heavier than before. Even the loudest voices dared not interrupt. The human ambassador raised his head, his eyes fixed on the Chancellor. "The galaxy waited for diplomacy," he said slowly, his voice sharp. "But soon you will learn the cost of betrayal." And with that he fell silent once more, a silence more terrifying than any war cry. Across the stars, fleets prepared, whispers spread, fear grew, and the galaxy stood unknowingly at the edge of fire. The Armada in shadows far from the shining halls of the Galactic Council. In the endless dark of space, shadows moved. Not the natural shadows of drifting asteroids or lifeless moons, but the silent shadows of human warships. They floated unseen beyond the edge of alien scanners. Cloaked by technology the galaxy believed impossible. Hundreds of massive vessels, their black hulls absorbing light, their engines whispering in silence. Among them rested the pride of Earth's hidden strength. Colossal dreadnoughts forged in secret shipyards, their armor thick as mountains, their weapons capable of tearing fleets apart in seconds, their names etched with quiet fury. Iron Resolve, Silent Thunder, Dawn of Terra. Inside the command deck of one such vessel, Admiral Kepler stood tall, his hands behind his back, his gaze fixed on the endless stars. Every officer on the bridge remained silent, waiting, knowing one word from him could ignite a storm across the galaxy. A young ensign whispered to her commander, "Admiral, why do we wait? The Council insults our people, our colonies are in danger, why not strike now?" The commander shook his head. "Patience. The signal has not been given. Earth does not fight with rage. Earth fights with precision." Across the fleet, crews worked in silence, weapons primed, engines humming softly. Every man and woman aboard knew what was at stake. The galaxy thought humans were weak, but here in the shadows lay the truth. Long ago, humanity had learned the cost of trust. When colonies were raided, when treaties were broken, when alien empires mocked their survival, they had vowed never again, and so Earth had built in silence year after year. Fleets hidden from the eyes of spies, fleets forged in secret, fleets designed not for defense, but for decisive fire. Now those fleets drifted like a sleeping storm, waiting for the whisper that would unleash them. On another ship, Captain Rowan sat in his chair, his eyes scanning the tactical screens. Countless dots marked the positions of alien fleets near their borders. "They think we are blind," he murmured. "But it is they who are blind. Blind to what waits just beyond their reach." His crew nodded, silent but ready, fingers hovering over controls that could rain destruction across entire armadas. In the lower decks, soldiers sat strapped in dropships, their armor gleaming black, their faces calm but resolute. They whispered prayers, not for themselves but for Earth, for their families, for the moment when silence would end. The fleet's communication channels remained cold, encrypted orders sealed. No captain moved without the word of the ambassador. For now they were shadows back in the council chamber. Alien delegates mocked and whispered, unaware that just beyond their borders doom drifted silently, waiting. Admiral Kepler walked slowly across the command deck, his voice finally breaking the silence. "The galaxy believes we are small. The galaxy believes we are fragile. But we are the children of a death world, and we have endured storms they cannot imagine." His officers straightened, their eyes burning with resolve. "We wait," he continued. "We wait until the council shows its true face. We wait until betrayal reveals itself, and then we answer with fire." His words spread across the command deck like steel. No one doubted, no one questioned. Out in the void, the dreadnought Iron Resolve shifted slightly, its hull glinting for only a moment before darkness swallowed it again. A predator waiting for the signal to strike. Across the Terran Armada, the silence was absolute. No grand speeches, no wasted energy. Only the quiet readiness of a fleet built not for show, but for survival aboard a smaller frigate. A young lieutenant looked out through the viewing glass. Stars sparkled like diamonds against the abyss. "Do you think the galaxy will understand when this begins?" she asked softly. Her captain shook his head. "No, they will not understand, but they will remember." In that moment, the truth of humanity hung between stars, unseen, yet unstoppable. The Armada was more than ships, more than weapons. It was the spirit of a people who had been underestimated for too long. It was the silent fury of Earth waiting in shadows, and somewhere deep in the ambassador's pocket, hidden within a small device, rested the signal, one code, one word, that could awaken the storm and change the fate of the galaxy forever. The galaxy waited for diplomacy, but in the shadows, humanity waited with fire. The breaking point, 800 words. The council chamber was restless. The silence from the human ambassador had unsettled many, yet pride still blinded the alien rulers. They refused to believe that one fragile species could shake the foundations of their power. The Vorkan delegate rose again, his scaled body towering, his voice loud and sharp. "You dare mock this council with silence, human? You dare waste our time?" His claw slammed against the metal table. "If you will not kneel, then your worlds will burn." The words thundered across the chamber, echoes bouncing off the high walls, but the human ambassador did not flinch. He stood calm, his hand still behind his back, his face cold and unreadable. Whispers spread through the alien seats. "He is weak," one hissed. "He is bluffing," another sneered. "They have no ships, no armies." Only desperate words. Laughter followed, cruel and sharp. A feathered noble from the Arkan Dominion leaned forward, his feathers flaring with mockery. "Human, listen well. We will not share power with your kind. You will sign the treaty. You will give us your resources, or you will face extinction." The chamber roared with approval. Claws banged, wings flapped, mandibles clicked, but the human ambassador remained silent, the calm in his eyes like a storm waiting to break. The chancellor tapped his silver staff, his voice echoing above the noise. "Let him speak now." "The human will speak." The ambassador finally stepped forward, his shoes echoing softly against the stone floor. The sound of his steps silenced the room faster than any command. He looked at them one by one, his voice calm, low, but sharp as a blade. "You call us weak. Yet you fear our silence," he said. "You call us fragile. Yet you gather your fleets in secret even as you mock us. You call us desperate. Yet you cannot stop watching me." Gasps echoed across the chamber. His words cut through arrogance like fire through dry wood. The ambassador's eyes burned cold. The Vorkan delegate bared his fangs. "You dare accuse us, human? You are nothing." But his words trembled, for even he felt the shift in the air. The ambassador took another step forward, his voice still steady. "You speak of peace, but your whispers speak of betrayal. You speak of mercy, but your hands are soaked with blood. You speak of strength, yet it is you who trembles at silence." The Arkan noble slammed his feathers against the table. Enough of this insolence, but the chamber did not roar this time. It sat frozen, trapped between arrogance and fear. The human lifted his chin, his words slow, deliberate. "We did not come for peace," he said, his voice filling the chamber, every word striking like thunder. "We came for judgment." Silence, total and absolute, gripped the hall. Every delegate sat still, their mouths half open, their eyes wide. The words carried more weight than fleets, more fire than weapons, for they came from a man who stood alone yet unafraid. And then, across the stars, signals moved, encrypted codes that had waited in silence. The ambassador's words were the key. The fleets in shadow stirred, engines roared to life. Weapons primed, the Armada awakened. Back in the chamber, the chancellor leaned forward, his silver eyes narrow. "What do you mean, human?" His voice trembled, though he tried to keep it strong. The ambassador's lips curved into the faintest smile, a smile without warmth, only warning. "You will see," he whispered, his voice calm but final. The galaxy waited for diplomacy, but diplomacy is dead. The chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted, some screamed in outrage, others in fear. Some demanded immediate attack, others begged for caution. But it no longer mattered, the silence had broken. Outside, in the void of space, the shadows moved into light. Human dreadnoughts revealed their black hulks, their weapons glowing with power, their engines igniting like suns, the Armada had been called. Inside the council, fear spread like wildfire. The human ambassador stood still, his presence a storm wrapped in calm, his words still echoing, "We did not come for peace. We came for judgment." The breaking point had arrived. In the endless void beyond council worlds, silence shattered. The Terran Armada uncloaked one by one. Black warships revealed themselves against the stars. Dreadnoughts, battleships, cruisers, frigates, all lined in formation like iron teeth waiting to bite. For centuries, the galaxy had believed Earth weak, believed humans small and desperate. But now the truth spread like fire. Humanity had been silent, but silence was only the mask of preparation. The dreadnought Iron Resolve fired first, a beam of white light tearing through the darkness. It struck an alien fleet near the border. Ships shattered in seconds, debris scattered across the void, their crews gone before they could even send warnings. Other Terran ships followed. Torpedoes streaked like falling stars. Kinetic rounds ripped through shields, alien defenses collapsed like paper walls. The admiral stood on his command deck, his eyes fixed forward, his voice calm. "Execute judgment." His words echoed across encrypted channels, and the Armada moved as one. Entire alien fleets tried to respond. Their ships scrambled from nearby outposts, but their formations were broken before they could unite. Human dreadnoughts carved through them like fire through dry leaves. Billions across the galaxy watched through live transmissions. Their leaders had promised human surrender, yet on their screens they saw alien armadas burning. planets shaking from the thunder of human weapons, dreadnoughts cutting down fleets with precision strikes. On the council floor, chaos erupted. Delegates shouted. Some demanded immediate retaliation, others begged for retreat. Many simply sat frozen, their eyes wide, their voices gone. The human ambassador stood calm at the center, his expression unchanged, his silence now explained. It had never been weakness. It had been patience, and Arkan nobles screamed. They lied, they deceived us, how can this be? His feathers shook with terror. The Vorkan delegate slammed his claws. Impossible, humans cannot build such fleets. They are too young, too small. But his voice cracked with fear, because before his eyes the impossible was happening. The Chancellor rose, his silver eyes burning with realization. You prepared in silence, he whispered, his voice filled with both awe and terror. All this time, you hid your strength. Across the void, the Terran Armada pressed forward. Entire worlds shook as human fleets appeared above alien skies. Precision strikes took down defense platforms. Warships carved paths through opposition. Civilians stared in horror as their mighty empires crumbled before the fire of Earth. On the silent thunder, Captain Rowan leaned over the tactical screen, his voice steady. Targets neutralized. Resistance minimal, his crew nodded. Their eyes hard with focus, none celebrated, none smiled. They fought not for glory, but for survival. In the lower decks, soldiers prepared for drops, their armor black, their faces cold with resolve. They knew this was not only war, it was revelation. The galaxy would never again see humanity as weak. The ambassador finally spoke again in the council chamber, his voice calm, every word sharp. This is not conquest, this is not expansion. This is justice, he said. For every betrayal, for every insult, for every drop of human blood spilled, you now face the fire you mocked. Gasps filled the chamber. No one laughed now, no one dared. One insectoid delegate trembled, his mandibles clicking. You will destroy us all, he whispered. But the ambassador's eyes turned cold. We destroy only arrogance, he replied. The galaxy thought humanity would kneel. But humanity does not kneel. We endure. We rise, and when pushed, we burn. The words cut through the chamber. Heavier than any weapon, reports flooded in. Alien fleets shattered. Empires crying for aid. Borders broken. Human dreadnoughts victorious. No resistance strong enough to stand. Panic consumed the council. Some screamed for surrender. Others fled the chamber in terror. The galaxy's rulers now looked less like gods and more like frightened children. The human ambassador stood alone. But behind him stretched the fire of Earth. Dreadnoughts, soldiers, fleets, an entire civilization tired of being mocked, tired of being betrayed above alien worlds. Terran warships hovered like black suns, their presence unchallenged. Their silence now louder than thunder. In every corner of the galaxy, citizens watched and whispered. Humans, the fragile ones, the weak ones, how can this be? How did they do this? Fear spread faster than fire. Respect rose from ashes. The breaking point had passed. Peace was gone. Arrogance was shattered. And fire ruled the stars. The galaxy had waited for diplomacy. But instead it was forced to witness the dawn of Terran fire. The chamber of the Galactic Council shook with chaos. Voices overlapped, claws slammed against tables. Wings flapped in panic. Mandibles clattered in fear. Every delegate shouted, no longer with arrogance but with dread. The great display above the chamber streamed live feeds of the war. Terran dreadnoughts gliding through alien fleets like wolves among sheep. Explosions lighting the void. Alien ships turning into drifting wrecks. Whole armadas erased in moments. One Arkan noble fell back in his chair, his feathers trembling. This cannot be real, he whispered. No species could build such fleets in silence, another snapped. They deceived us, they tricked us, they waited until now to strike. The Vorkan delegate, once loud and arrogant, now leaned forward with shaking claws. We must call every fleet, every weapon, throw everything we have against them. But even as he spoke, reports came in, their fleets already burned, their borders broken, their defenses shattered. An insectoid delegate cried out, his mandibles clicking in terror. We mocked them, we thought them weak, but weakness does not do this. Weakness does not burn empires. His words cut through the chamber, chilling every heart. The Chancellor rose slowly, his silver eyes dark with realization. You see now, he said softly, silence was never weakness. It was patience. His staff trembled in his hands, and patience has become fire. The human ambassador remained in the center, calm as stone, his eyes steady. His voice silent, he did not need to speak. For the fire across the stars already spoke louder than words. Some delegates turned to him with desperate voices. Stop them, call them back. We will give Earth whatever it wants. But the ambassador did not move, his silence cut deeper than any refusal. Others screamed in rage. This is conquest, this is tyranny. They are no better than the empires they claim to punish. But their words held no power, no force, for their fleets lay broken, their voices meaningless before the storm. The chamber's walls shook as another explosion played across the display. A Vorkan flagship, once feared across dozens of systems, torn apart by a single strike from the Terran dreadnought Silent Thunder. The delegates gasped in horror, their pride stripped away. The Chancellor leaned heavily on his staff, his voice trembling. You thought Earth small, yet Earth stands greater than any of you. You thought Earth fragile, yet Earth endures storms none of you could survive, and now, you see the truth, the Archon noble screeched, feathers falling loose. Then what do they want? What is their demand? His voice cracked with fear. At last the human ambassador spoke, his tone calm but sharper than any blade. We want nothing, he said. We asked for respect. You offered mockery, we asked for peace. You offered betrayal, we asked for trust. You offered chains. His words echoed like thunder. He took one step forward, his eyes sweeping the terrified chamber. So we take nothing, but we leave fire so you will never forget. Gasps filled the hall. No one dared speak, no one dared move on the display. More alien fleets crumbled. Their desperate attempts to regroup crushed within minutes. Human warships moved with precision, every strike measured, every blow deliberate. The galaxy's most powerful rulers now sat in silence, their fear drowning out their pride. One insectoid delegate whispered so quietly that only those near him could hear. They are not invaders, they are executioners. The words spread like poison. Soon many began to repeat them. Executioners, judgment, fire. Fear turned into legend within the chamber itself. The Chancellor lowered his staff, his voice soft. The age of arrogance is over. The galaxy belongs to humanity now, whether we admit it or not. The human ambassador did not nod, did not smile. He only watched, cold and silent. Behind him, the fire of Earth blazed across the stars. For the first time in history, the Galactic Council, once the proudest and strongest gathering in existence, felt powerless. They had waited for diplomacy, but diplomacy was gone. They had mocked humanity, but now they whispered its name with fear. The chamber grew colder, quieter, the echoes of destruction still flashing above, but no one dared insult the human again. Because the Council had seen it, the galaxy had seen it. The fire of Earth was unstoppable, and fear now ruled where arrogance once stood. The Galactic Council chamber was silent, the kind of silence that carried fear. Every delegate sat frozen, their eyes locked on the human ambassador who stood alone yet unshaken. Beyond the walls, the skies burned, alien fleets reduced to ash by Terran fire. The great display above them still streamed destruction. Warships that once represented centuries of dominance were gone in minutes. The sight of Terran dreadnoughts gliding through fire was burned into every witness's mind. They could not look away. The Archon noble finally broke, his feathers trembling. Please, human, call them back. Stop this slaughter. We will sign any treaty, give you any resources. Just stop. His voice cracked, no longer filled with pride, but desperation. The Vorkan delegate, once thunderous with arrogance, now lowered his head, his claws trembling. We mocked you, we betrayed you, we thought you weak, but we were blind, he muttered. Tell us what you demand. The Chancellor's silver eyes shimmered with both fear and respect, his voice soft. Human, you have no need to kneel. You have no need to ask. The galaxy will give you anything. Just speak, and it will be done. The human ambassador looked at them, his expression calm, his voice steady. You still do not understand, he said, his words cutting through the air. Earth does not want your resources. Earth does not want your worlds. Earth does not want your throne. Gasps echoed, confusion spread. Some delegates leaned forward, others whispered frantically. If they do not want conquest, then why this fire? Why this war? The ambassador raised his hand slightly, silencing even whispers. We wanted respect, he said. We wanted peace built on trust. But when you offered only chains, we built fire. We did not come here to beg. We came here to remind you. The chamber sat in heavy silence, his words pressing against every heart. Remember this, he continued, his eyes sweeping the hall. Humans endure storms your empires cannot imagine. Humans rise from ashes where others fall. Humans are patient, but when patience ends, the galaxy itself will tremble. His words burned like fire. Delegates bowed their heads, their fear turning into submission. On the display, the Terran Armada slowed, weapons dimmed, dreadnoughts hung in space like dark guardians. Fire was not endless. It had purpose. It had been unleashed to send a message. Admiral Kepler stood aboard the Iron Resolve, his voice calm. Hold positions, he commanded. Let the galaxy see us. Let them understand. His officers obeyed, their hands steady, their eyes sharp. No cheer rose, no celebration, for humanity did not fight for glory. They fought for survival. Back in the chamber, the Chancellor lowered his silver staff, his voice heavy with defeat. The galaxy has learned. Diplomacy is no longer ours to shape. It belongs to Earth now. The human ambassador finally spoke his last words, his voice cold, final. We are not your servants. We are not your tools. We are not your pawns. From this day forward, the galaxy will treat humanity with respect, or humanity will answer again with fire. The chamber fell into silence once more. No one dared object. No one dared whisper. From that day, the galaxy remembered, not the words of treaties, not the arrogance of empires, but the silence of one human and the fire that followed. Stories spread across the stars, stories of a people mocked as fragile, yet revealed as unstoppable, stories of fleets born in shadows, of fire that humbled empires, of humans who stood unshaken when the galaxy demanded their surrender. Children whispered the tale of Earth with awe. Rulers spoke the name of humanity with fear, and history itself bent under the weight of that moment. It was not conquest. It was not empire. It was not tyranny. It was something greater. It was the dawn of Terran rule, not by chains, but by respect, not by fear alone, but by fire, remembered. The galaxy had waited for diplomacy, but diplomacy had died. In its place, humanity had risen, unbroken, unbent, unbowed. The stars themselves now carried a warning, a legend, a truth. When humanity is mocked, beware the silence, for after silence comes fire.